Last time when I left you, we had done a lot of the horizontal. We had worked on the windows. Today, I want to demonstrate. We're going to actually work on the 45-degree angles of the roof. We're going to do that today. We're also going to start the bricking, which is more vertical. So you can see we did the windows last time, and you can see the dramatic difference it makes when you have a window that's dark as opposed to a window that's not dark, but not filled in. It adds depth to the structure, and even the doors themselves. Look at the depth you feel when you see darkness on the bottom of a door. Okay, so now we're going to go back to working on the remaining roof, and that is going to be pretty much the same 45-degree angle, and yet it's not consistent. That's the trick about using this technique. It's got to be inconsistent. Here we go, folks. 45-degree angles. It's got to be every other one. And you can see at the end of this, I'll show you dramatically what happens. It's a trick to remember which one you filled in and which one you didn't. I don't want this to be too dark, nor am I praying that the ink doesn't flow too fully, because then I'll have a big problem. I have to really basically stay with a stodgy amount of ink, pray it's consistently small, not too heavy. Here we go again. Go this way now. Like I said, I taught easily. I tutored well over 1,000 kids in my day, and several took to it. Several liked the technique, but you have to have a certain type of personality to take it on in life and keep doing it. I had one girl who was Asian, Katie. I love her. She's an adoptee. She's Asian by birth, Polish by adoption. She's the most beautiful person I ever met. She took to this type of art like a fish to water. I bought her a pictograph sight unseen. I told her how to do it. I showed her, and she took to it perfectly. She now is I think she's in her last year in some college in New York State. She's doing very well. She visits me every summer, and I love that. I just saw her last week, as a matter of fact, and I miss her already. But like I said, every now and then you find one student who picks up on this technique. It is a very boring and numbing technique. It's rewarding in its own sense, but it's very difficult. And it's hard to pick up on this architectural technique. You're basically got to remember where you were. Very boring. End result is quite incredible, because the effect is pretty cool. It's in a sense, I don't know how to describe it. It's very simplistic. It's almost a conceit in the fact that you are fooling Mother Nature. But it does work, and who cares if you're fooling? I think sometimes even true architects are fooled by this. I like that. All right, I'm going to half it done. We'll try the other half. It's a nice technique for architecture, I'll say that much. As long as you remember it's every other structure, not, you gotta keep that in mind. It's very difficult. The bricking is much easier than the shingling. I'll show you this as soon as it's done. I hate to break up the pattern now because I could lose the pattern, and God help me, that would be very hard to pick up on it once I lose it. I'll show you all in a minute. It takes at least another minute or two to get it done. Once you see it, again, it's a conceit, almost an optical illusion when you think about it, because you're not counting the numbers of shingles. You're not by any means being accurate. You're kind of concocting a conceit, and you're going along with it. You're creating an illusion. If I was to tell you it's all completely accurate, I'd be lying. It's not. It's just a nice little conceit. But it works. It's a nice little optical illusion. I even think the angle is wrong, but it works. I'm wondering even if the angle is correct, but again, it doesn't really matter as long as the effect fools you or the average person. I found some architects are even amazed at this. They say it's pretty good. I'm the first to tell you, it's not measured. It's not in the least bit accurate as far as I'm concerned. But it does. It serves to it fills the illusion. It really makes you think. God help you. I don't know. The thing about any type of architecture, and I always will say this without any certainty, any building that looks like it stand up works for me. I've seen so many buildings that are drawn that don't look like it stand up, and that could go either for any type of drawing, any type of art. If it doesn't look like it stand up, it doesn't succeed. As long as it fills that one little dilemma, can the building indeed stand? Does it look like it can? Then that's really all that matters to me. We're halfway done with the roof. I think what I'm going to do, when I get to a certain point in this, when you're actually facing the roof, I'm going to change the actual, the approach. I'm going to have it go to a 50-degree as opposed to 100, let's say 45-degree. I might change the angle. I could see it changing here. Yes. So what we'll do is this. We'll change it from a 40 to 100 and back to 40 the opposite way. Hopefully, nobody's going to be too upset. Hopefully it'll work. That's more important. Let's see what happens. We're going to go this way. And remember, we're going to put stipple in all this too. This is not the end of it. Once the stipple is applied, it's going to get rid of a lot of nonsense. Now it's getting to be almost at the halfway mark. Let's see what happens. This is the roof. If you're looking at the building directly, you're going to see this type of approach. And we're going to change the angle completely from 45 this way to 45 this way. Hopefully we will not upset anyone's stylings, anyone's inclination. I think it'll work. Like I said, we're going to put stipple in it anyway, so it'll hardly be noticeable, I hope. Now we're going to go this way, directly up. The trick is we're still hitting every other one. The other good thing is that this does hit a peak, this particular roof. Hopefully it will not create and not break up the illusion too much. It probably will. I think once the stipple is applied, it's going to be really interesting. Right now, it's kind of boring, quite honestly. And again, with the bricking, it's going to be a little bit more interesting. The bricking is a little bit more easy to visualize. Go this way. Now we're going exactly the opposite way. And again, it really won't matter once the stipple is addressed. But the truth is, once you are looking at a building from any perspective, you change the angle in which the shingles are viewed. Especially if they're put in the right way. Some buildings are difficult to actually see, and they change depending on where you stand. I think it'll work out nicely though. We are going to have this roof come to a apex right here. So we really don't have to worry too much about this. It's pretty much going to be swallowed up. But you're going to see a dramatic difference. Here we go. I'm pretty happy with this building. It's really got depth now. And I was talking to Peter. He's the man in charge of the library, and he has great plans for this drawing. And I hope to see it actually be used. I like when they do a drawing of a building, and I like to see the building used in many ways. It really makes me happy. I did several buildings of this nature, and the larger the structure, the more historical in aspect, the more joy it gives me to see it used correctly. I like doing houses. Public buildings are nice. Public structures. They did the Mark Twain house, and I've seen that used properly. I love it. Very good. We've got all that done. Let's do this area now. Now, this is going to be easier because I'm going to keep this angle consistent. That's the beauty right now. The angle is going to be very consistent. It was good that this part came to a top. It really worked out nicely. I see what happened. My pen got slightly jarred. The ink flow was disrupted. There it goes. You got to be very careful with these pens. Remember the old pens we had? They would, on occasion, the ink would become dislodged, and that's what happens with rapidographs. They also, the flow gets a little bit tampered with. There we go. I got it going now. Beautiful. It's based on the same thing, and when I do that, what I'm doing is reactivating the little bit of a drip factor. I'm actually creating a vacuum when I do that. That's really what it is. You're creating a vacuum to make the ink proceed. Here we go. Probably the most basic thing on earth, just create a vacuum. Now, having done that, I can proceed. Here we go. Keeping it going. Keep it consistent. I want to keep the angle in the same line. I'm going to keep this going all the way through. It looks good. I'll show you in a few seconds how this angle worked nicely. And it is very nicely. The pen is going nicely. I might have to put some more ink in it. I think we're running real low. Wouldn't surprise me. I've been using it all day. Usually I have to fill up my pens at least once every 2 weeks. And since I've been using it consistently for the last month, I think I'm running low on ink. My rapidographs last me on the average of once a year. I have to replace them. Because what I do is I actually wear out the bevel. They don't last as long as you think, especially if you use them every day. And I do. You wear out the bevel at the top of the pen, and that's simply just from constant usage. I used to be a full-time artist at the Herald in New Britain, and I would have to get a pen I'd say every month or two, because I would draw so much that the pen would get worn down. I would do an average of 3 drawings a week for the paper. And that's something that's not done anymore. Nobody in their right mind does that many drawings. It's a long gone job. I don't think I know anybody that does 3 drawings a week for any type of publication. I do. Not for a publication, for myself. I paint at least 2 paintings a week, and I draw at least 2 drawings a week. That's not saying I finish them. I work on that many a week. I like to keep myself active. I don't like not keeping myself afloat. So, and I always come up with new ideas. It's not enough to have a painting in the background. You always have to keep active with new ideas. I'm going to show you this roof in a few seconds, and you can see the dramatic difference it makes in having an angle like this. The roof looks very nice, and it's really, now I'm going to keep it consistent with the end of the roof. This is a true 45-degree angle. I'll hope I can get it done to show everybody. It would really be nice. I think it's coming out really, really well. And it looks like it's going to be perfect. It's hard to do a building like this on the air. I don't think I know anybody else who would actually want to. Most people wouldn't dare doing something like this live on camera for fear of making a mistake and making a tremendous fool of themselves. But I've made a fool of myself with lesser things, so. And I've done this so much, it really doesn't bother me. The circumstance. Like I said, when I worked at a newspaper, I used to sit there in the office and do this in front of people. There'd be people walking in, walking out. Nothing bothered me. We're almost done. And you can see what an impact it makes to have the roofing done. Almost done. Where to see this? And the angle worked out perfect. The next time you see this, I'll have all the stipple inside. It's going to be really nice. The roof is going to look so perfect. Almost there. All right. I think I have to do one more thing, and that's it. Let's fix this one. All right. Take a look for yourself. The roof has got the 45-degree work on each one of these. And what I did, if you notice, this 45-degree angle is this way, and we transformed it at this point and had to go this way. This is where you actually see it come right at you. Now, when I put the stipple in, you might not be able to see it as clearly. It's going to be almost magically disappearing, but that's a good thing. Now, the next thing I want to do is actually put the bricking in, which is going to be a little bit darker, and the roof is not going to be so visible, at least the individual aspect of it. The actual brick, on the other hand, is darker. It's red brick. As well as you can see, the red brick is darker than the roof. The roof is grayish, and it'll be different. But I kind of like the way. I guess what I could work on before we run out of time is to actually finish the windows. And I could show you that before we run out of time. That would be a nice thing to really show you. Hopefully I could get it done in time. We did a lot, a few minutes we had today. So I'm very happy. And like I said, it's very hard to do this live. I would like to see anybody else do pen and ink live. I don't think I've met anyone yet. Yeah, you see people cartoon live, but I'm talking about something as fastidious as this, so accurate. Anybody could cartoon live. You don't care about perfection when you're doing cartooning, or for that matter, caricaturing, rough caricaturing, which is what you see today. When I do caricaturing, it's very, very accurate. It's not a cartoon. Very recognizable. And that's what I'll do in a couple of the new episodes we have lined up. I'm going to do a caricature. And it's going to be somebody which we will actually show you. The beginning and the end result. I really like that. And you'll see the results. Okay, we got the top window done.